In this video, we're going to continue learning how to name alkane structures. Now we are going to move on to understand how do I name alkanes that have two or more of the same substituent. As you can see on the left side of the slide, these are the steps that you must follow in order to name these structures. First, you're going to write the alkane name for the longest chain of carbon atoms present in your molecule. You're going to number the carbon atoms starting from the end that is nearest to the first substituent. When you have two or more of the same substituent, a prefix needs to be utilized in front of the substituent name to signify how many of the same substituents you have. Di is utilized for 2, tri is utilized for 3, tetra is utilized for 4, and then from then on, you can have penta for 5, hexa for 6, so on and so forth. You need to give the location for those substituents, and since they are the same substituent, those numbers will be separated by commas. And then whenever we have numbers and words, as we previously saw, they are separated by a hyphen. Let's look at the two examples that we have on the slide. Starting with this condensed structure. First, let's identify what is the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. When we explore and identify what is the longest chain of carbon atoms, I hope that you found that this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon atoms. Let me highlight them. We observed that on carbon number 2, we have 2 branches. If your branch is a CH3 group, that is called a methyl group. So the last word in the naming is going to be the longest continuous chain, which means that the last word is going to be pentane. The name of that substituent on carbon 2 is a methyl group. Since we have 2 of them, we're going to put the prefix di for representing the 2 methyls that we have. Then we have to give their location in the molecule. One is on carbon 2. The next one is a carbon 2. And we have 2 methyls. That's why it's dimethyl. So the correct name for this molecule is 2,2 hyphen dimethyl pentane. Let's do the following example. Now we have specifically a skeletal structure. Take a moment and identify what is the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms that we have in this molecule. I hope that you were able to identify that in this molecule, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 carbon atoms. For this molecule particularly, it doesn't matter the direction, left to right or right to left. You will have these 2 substituents between carbons 4 and 5. Let me proceed to write the number of carbons in my parent chain. Let me highlight the parent. In the skeletal structure, on carbon number 4 and carbon number 5, we have 1, 2 carbons as branches. A substituent of 2 carbons is called an ethyl group. So the correct name for this molecule, we write the position of my substituents. One is on carbon 4, one is on carbon 5. I have two of the same. Di. The name of the substituent is ethyl. And the parent chain here is octane. Take a moment and name the following haloalkane. I hope that you were able to identify that the longest continuous chain of carbon atom is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon atoms. I had to number from left to right because that's at the end that is nearest the first substituent. For this molecule, let me highlight the parent chain. Since we have 5 carbon atoms, that means that the parent is going to be a pentane. Since the multiple of the same substituents are fluorines, then that means specifically that this is going to be a fluoro group. Since we have 3 of them, that's a trifluoro, and they are present on position 1, position 2, position 4, and those locations are separated by commas. So the name of this structure is 1, 2, 4 hyphen trifluoropentane. Make sure that you practice with the resources given how to name alkanes with multiple of the same substituent.